I'm Zahir, Kelvin, Abdullah, and this is Nightline news making the headlines. PM leads ASEAN call for early conclusion of South China Sea Code of Conduct. And a woman remanded after fatal crash involving UITM students. ASEAN on Thursday reaffirmed the importance of maintaining peace and stability in the South China Sea in accordance with universally recognized international law principles. This assertion was made by Prime Minister Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim while delivering a joint statement on behalf of ASEAN at the 27th ASEAN-China Summit held at the National Convention Centre in Vientiane, Laos. The Prime Minister, who is representing Malaysia as the coordinating country for ASEAN-China dialogue relations, also urged for the conclusion of the Code of Conduct COC in the South China Sea as soon as possible. The Prime Minister said this is in accordance with the universally recognized principles of international law, including the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea, 1982, UNCLOS. It was reported in March that the second reading of the COC had been completed and it is now entering its third reading. The South China Sea has been a contentious issue in the region after China claims nearly the entire region despite overlapping maritime claims by Malaysia, the Philippines, Vietnam and Brunei. On another note, Anwar said ASEAN welcomed China's support for energy transition efforts and encouraged collaboration in emerging technologies such as robotics and artificial intelligence. ASEAN also welcomes the joint statement on deepening cooperation in people-to-people exchanges and welcomes China's proposal to extend the ASEAN-China Year of People-to-People Exchanges to 2025. China maintains its position as ASEAN's largest trading partner for the past 15 years, while ASEAN has been China's top trading partner for 3 consecutive years since 2020. Meanwhile, Datuk Seri Anwar also attended several summits and bilateral meetings with heads of state and international organizations. During a joint meeting with South Korea and Japan, he proposed strategic cooperation between ASEAN and the two nations in the field of digital transformation. The Prime Minister noted that this initiative would allow ASEAN member countries to strengthen capacity building, skills development and human resources in a strategic manner. Additionally, he expressed to the European Union (EU) Malaysia's intention to continue discussions on the Malaysia-EU Free Trade Agreement (FTA). In a bilateral meeting with the President of the European Council, Charles Michel, the Prime Minister shared his views on the EU's anti-deforestation regulations, which directly impact Malaysia's palm oil industry. Anwar also received a courtesy call from the delegation of the World Economic Forum, WEF, led by its executive chairman, Professor Klaus Schwab. The discussions touched on various significant issues related to regional and global economic developments. A housewife has been remanded for 4 days to assist in the investigation into an accident on Wednesday in which 3 students from University Technology Mara UITM Dungun were killed and 1 left seriously injured. Magistrate Noor Amira Fatiha Osman issued the remand order at the Kuala Terengganu Court Complex on Thursday morning. The suspect, who was driving an SUV at the time of the incident, is being investigated under Section 41, Subsection 1 of the Road Transport Act for reckless driving. She was brought to court at around 9 a.m. The woman, who has 3 children, appeared to be in a confused state. Earlier, Terengganu Deputy Police Chief Wan Rukman Wan Hassan said the accident occurred in front of the university at about 7:35 p.m. when the car, driven by the woman, collided with 2 motorcycles carrying the 4 students. It was reported that the students were returning to campus after having dinner during the incident. Police said their preliminary investigation showed that the suspect may be mentally unstable. The 3 victims who died on the spot were identified as Muhammad Akmal Muhammad Tukirin, age 25 from Muar Johor, Ku Adib Ku Azmi, age 20 from Sungai Buloh Selangor, and Khairil Anwar Jamaluddin, also 20, from Ampang, Selangor. The 4th victim, 20-year-old Ahmad Danish Muhammad Ridwan, meanwhile suffered injuries and is receiving treatment at Dungun Hospital. Meanwhile, Prime Minister Datuk Sri Anwar Ibrahim has extended his condolences to the families of the 3 students. In a post on the X platform on Thursday, Anwar said the accident was heartbreaking and he was deeply affected by the news. 2 individuals with the title of Datuk were detained by the Malaysian AntiCorruption Commission (MACC) for their alleged involvement in submitting false claims related to 19 housing projects in Temerloh Pahang worth more than 4 million ringgit. Magistrate Wan Nora Nisa Ngadirin granted the 4-day remand for both suspects until October 13, following a request from the MACC at the Shah Alam Magistrates Court. According to sources, the 2 male suspects, both in their 40s, are a director of a development company and a contractor from Selangor. They were arrested at the Selangor MACC office on Wednesday evening. Preliminary investigations revealed that the suspects made false claims related to the construction of 19 semi-detached houses in the Taman Delima Saujana Phase 2 housing project in Temerloh Pahang between 2021 and 2023. The first suspect, who worked for the development company, colluded with the second suspect, who prepared false documents to claim payments from the Public Sector Housing Financing Board (LPPSA) for the construction of the houses. The LPPSA subsequently made payments to the first suspect, even though the houses were never built. Meanwhile, Selangor MACC Director Dato' Alias Salim confirmed the arrest. The case is being investigated under Section 18 of the MACC Act. 16 officials from Global Ikhwan Services and Business Holdings (GISBH), including its CEO, have been rearrested under the Security Offences Special Measures Act 2012 (SOSMA). Bukit Aman Criminal Investigation Department Director Datuk Sri Muhammad Shuhaili Muhammad Zain said the suspects were rearrested on Thursday to facilitate ongoing investigations. They are now part of 58 individuals linked to GISBH who have been arrested under SOSMA so far. Separately, Shuhaili said the Attorney General's Chambers has given the green light for 4 investigation papers to proceed with prosecution in the near future. 2 of those probe papers were on Section 12 of the Anti-Trafficking in Persons and Smuggling of Migrants Act, ATIPSOM, for human trafficking, 1 under Section 14 subsection A of the Sexual Offences Against Children Act for sexual assault on a child, and 1 under Section 5 subsection 1 of the Care Centres Act for operating an unregistered care centre. He said police have also obtained information pertaining to 23 assets worth 52.4 million ringgit under GISBH located in 10 countries. Shuhaili said police are waiting for confirmation from its counterparts in those countries for further action. Since the many raids under Op Global was launched a month ago, the police have arrested 415 individuals and rescued 625 victims aged between 2 months and 28 years. Of the figure, 13 victims were believed to have been sodomized while living at the care centres linked to GISBH. Yang di-Pertuan Agong Sultan Ibrahim received a telephone call from King Charles III of the United Kingdom at Istana Negara on Thursday. The moment was shared in a post on Sultan Ibrahim's official Facebook page. The post indicated that the phone call between the 2 monarchs focused on the upcoming 27 Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting CHOGM set to take place in Apia, Samoa from October 21st to 26. The post stated that King Charles also conveyed his best regards to the people of Malaysia. As the head of the Commonwealth, King Charles will preside over the gathering of presidents and prime ministers for the first time during this event hosted by Samoa. This summit will also mark Sultan Ibrahim's first attendance in his capacity as the Malaysian king. Proposals under the National Housing Policy, including the provision of long-term housing loans, will be discussed by the Finance Ministry with Bank Negara (BNM) and the Housing and Local Government Ministry. Deputy Prime Minister Datuk Sri Ahmad Zahid Hamidi said this was among the matters agreed upon during the Executive Committee meeting of the National Action Council on Cost of Living on Thursday. In a statement after the meeting, Datuk Sri Ahmad Zahir said the proposed review of the national housing policy will make home ownership more affordable while increasing disposable income. He said a review may be necessary because of the increase in household debt to gross domestic product (GDP) ratio from 67.2% in 2002 to 81.2% in 2022. He added that the residential property sector now dominates household loans, with housing credit climbing from 36% in 1997 to 59.7% in 2022, which has a significant impact on disposable income levels, and as such, the committee agreed to look into the matter. After 9 months, registering a rate of 3.3%, August's unemployment rate dropped by 0.1% to 3.2%. Chief Statistician Datuk Sri Dr. Muhammad Uzair Mahidin said Malaysia's labour market in August continued to expand, driven by encouraging economic growth with a continuous increase in the number of employed persons, while the number of unemployed persons continues to decline. According to the Department of Statistics Malaysia, DOSM, the number of unemployed persons reduced to 558,500, while the number of employed persons portrayed a growth of 0.2% to 16.66 million persons in August, up from 16.63 persons in July. On the employment situation, he added that most of the employed persons were dominated by the employees category, encompassing 75.0%. In the meantime, the own account workers category remained on its positive trend and rose by 0.3% to 3.08 million persons. At least 4 dead and 3 million without power after Hurricane Milton batters Florida. This and more from the foreign front when we return.
The upcoming 2025 budget, how to effectively address the rising cost of living and support income growth for the rakyat. What proactive strategies to prioritize to foster sustainable economic growth and elevate Malaysia's global competitiveness. Money Matters with Bank Muamalat Malaysia Berhad's Chief Economist Dr. Muhammad Afzal Nizam Abdul Rashid this Saturday at 5 p.m. on TV3 and stream on Tonton.
Kekal cakna, kekal sihat. Hello Doktor merungkai pelbagai persoalan kesihatan anda.
Penyakit kronik, pemakanan, kesihatan mental, semuanya demi kesejahteraan anda.
Setiap minggu bersama tenaga pakar kesihatan terbaik Malaysia, segalanya terjawab dalam Hello Doktor setiap Ahad
5.30 petang di TV3
dan stream juga melalui Tonton. Diving deep into the business world.
With expert insights and in-depth analysis.
The latest trends and developments shaping the country, region and the globe.
Key insights into finance.
On Money Matters.
Every Saturday at 5 p.m.
on TV3 and stream on Tonton.
Ada apa dengan 40? Orang kata life begins at 40. Okey, makanan apa yang ada sepanjang tahun? Awak nak tahu?
Awak nak tahu? Nantikan Selasa ini.
Dalam hidup ni kadang-kadang akan ada rasa nak berputus asa.
Alah, janganlah macam tu. Tak kiralah apa saja dugaan yang datang, kita kena bangkit.
Okey, cyst. Adakah ianya berbahaya?
Nantikan kupasannya Khamis ini.
Ada pasangan kan? Kat depan lain, kat belakang lain.
Alamak, betul-betul topeng ke?
Semuanya di WHI TV3
dan stream di Tonton.
Onto the foreign front, Hurricane Milton barreled into the Atlantic Ocean on Thursday after ploughing across Florida as a Category 3 storm, pounding cities with ferocious rain, whipping up a barrage of tornadoes and causing an unknown numbers of deaths. 4 people have so far been confirmed dead in St. Lucie County following tornadoes there, with the state anticipating more casualties. The storm also knocked out power across a large section of the state, with more than 3.2 million homes and businesses without electricity. As dawn broke, Officials repeated that the danger had not passed as tropical storm warnings have now been in place for much of the east central coast. Milton's destruction will become clearer as the day goes on, but in many pockets the severity was already evident. At least 28 people have been killed on Thursday after a Zionist airstrike targeted a school sheltering displaced people in central Gaza. The Zionist military said it had carried out a precise strike on terrorists who had a command and control center embedded in the school. However, medics said 54 Palestinians were wounded at the school, and videos circulating on social media show bodies torn apart, many unidentifiable after the strike. Meanwhile, Zionist forces fired on 2 positions used by UN peacekeepers in southern Lebanon on Thursday and at another one on Wednesday as Israel pressed its assault on Hezbollah. The UNIFIL peacekeeping force said 2 of its peacekeepers were injured in one of the incidents when a Zionist tank fired at an observation tower at the force's main headquarters. Taiwanese President Lai Ching-te on Thursday vowed to resist annexation as China exerts growing military and political pressure on the self-ruled island it claims as part of its territory. In a thinly veiled reference to China's claim over the island, Lai said he would uphold the commitment to resist annexation or encroachment upon our sovereignty. Speaking to a crowd in Taipei to commemorate Taiwan's National Day, Lai promised to maintain the status quo of peace and stability across the Taiwan Strait and pledged to cooperate with Beijing on issues such as climate change, combating infectious diseases and maintaining regional security. Earlier, Beijing accused Lai of malicious intent to escalate hostility and confrontation after he said China was not the motherland of Taiwan, but he also held out an offer of cooperation with China. It has since ramped up pressure on Taiwan to accept its sovereignty claims, and relations have remained tense. Philippine President Ferdinand Marcos on Thursday challenged Chinese Premier Li Qiang over recent clashes in the South China Sea at regional summit talks as fears grow that conflict could erupt in the disputed waterway. Marcos emphasized the need for China to adhere to international law and respect the Philippines' rights in the disputed waters. He also expressed concerns over the increasing tensions and urged for a peaceful resolution to conflicts in the region. Meanwhile, Li Qiang met the leaders of the 10-member Association of Southeast Asian Nations, ASEAN, at a gathering in Laos after a day of discussions dominated by the Myanmar civil war. The growing frequency and intensity of clashes in the disputed waterway are fueling fears that the situation could escalate further. Zahir continues winning run to reach quarters. Sports action from the Arctic Open right after this breather.
Menarik di MHI sepanjang minggu.
Kadar kemalangan melibatkan kenderaan berat semakin meningkat. Di mana silapnya?
Jawab.
Itulah seronok sangat menyanyi. Suara dan peti suara pun kena jaga tau.
Awak jangan main-main. Saya bawa pengawal peribadi saya baru awak tahu. Tapi zaman sekarang ni penting ke ada pengawal peribadi?
Dan Khamis, wajarkah subsidi pendidikan untuk anak golongan kaya dihentikan?
Jagaan Belanjawan 2025 dalam soal wang.
MHI Isnin hingga Jumaat hanya di TV3
dan stream ditonton.
Diving deep into the business world.
With expert insights and in-depth analysis.
The latest trends and developments shaping the country, region and the globe.
Key insights into finance.
on Money Matters.
Every Saturday at 5 p.m.
On TV3 and stream on Tonton.
Alah, dah habis? Tak sempat nak tengok.
Drama TV3 Mak? Tengok je lah, tonton.
Telefon nak buat?
Telefon Mak. Mula-mula Mak buka tonton, lepas tu tekan sign up here untuk buat akaun baru. Isi nombor telefon, email dengan password. Masukkan nombor TAC dan siap.
Lah, senang je. Jadi tengok dasar.
Boleh lah. Edit lah drama Mak tu.
We're back with sports. Badminton, the 2024 Arctic Open. Defending champion Li Zijia reached the men's singles quarterfinals after defeating Japan's Yushi Tanaka in the second round on Thursday. The world number 4 showcased his strength against world number 30 Tanaka in the opening game, but had to fend off a strong challenge in the second before wrapping up the match 21-11, 21-18 in 42 minutes. Zijia will face Japan's Koki Watanabe in the quarterfinals on Friday. Meanwhile, independent men's doubles pair Go Surfei Nor Izzuddin Rumsani continued their fine form when they upstaged Kenya Matsuhashi Hiroki Okamura of Japan 21-16, 21-16 in the second round to check into the last 8. Awaiting the world number 8 in the next round are Fajar Alfian Muhammad Rian Ardianto of Indonesia. In the mixed doubles action, Hu Pangron, Cheng Su-yin also did well to reach the last 8 after beating 6-seeded Taiwanese pair Yang Po-swan, Hu Lingfang 21-19, 21-12 in the second round. They will next play compatriots Go Soon-hwat, Chevron Lai for a place in the semi-finals. Moving on to tennis, the 2024 Shanghai Masters. Jannik Sinner dominated Daniil Medvedev in straight sets on Thursday to reach his first semi-final. The 23-year-old Italian secured the 6-1, 6-4 victory, defeating the 5th seed for the 7th time in their last 8 meetings. The world number 1 will now face Tomasz Marhasz for a place in the final. Earlier, world number 2 Carlos Alcaraz suffered a shock straight set defeat by an inspired Marhasz in the quarterfinals. The world number 33 Czech won a closely fought first set tiebreak before emerging a 7-6, 7-5 winner. Still on tennis, the 2024 Wuhan Open. Wang Xinyu upset second seed Jessica Pegula to book a place in her first WTA 1000 quarterfinal on Thursday. The 23-year-old, who was dominant on serve throughout the match, clinched a 6-3, 7-5 win against the US Open finalist. The victory extended her winning streak against the American, having won both of their head-to-head matches. The world number 51 will now face Ekaterina Alexandrova in the next round. In another match, Zheng Qinwen came back from a set down to beat Canada's Leila Fernandez. Despite losing the first set 5-7, the 5th seed fought back to claim the following 2 sets 6-3, 6-love, securing her spot in the first WTA 1000 quarterfinal. Waiting for her in the next round is 3rd seed Yasmin Paolini. At least 3 injured after explosion at Iskandar Putri factories. The details when we come back.
Menarik di MHI sepanjang minggu.
Kadar kemalangan melibatkan kenderaan berat semakin meningkat. Di mana silapnya?
Jawab.
Itulah seronok sangat menyanyi. Suara dan peti suara pun kena jaga tau.
Awak jangan main-main. Saya bawa pengawal peribadi saya baru awak tahu. Tapi zaman sekarang ni penting ke ada pengawal peribadi?
Dan Khamis, wajarkah subsidi pendidikan untuk anak golongan kaya dihentikan?
Jagaan Belanjawan 2025 dalam soal wang.
MHI Isnin hingga Jumaat hanya di TV3
dan stream ditonton.
Kekal cakna, kekal sihat. Hello Doktor merungkai pelbagai persoalan kesihatan anda.
Penyakit kronik, pemakanan, kesihatan mental, semuanya demi kesejahteraan anda.
Setiap minggu bersama tenaga pakar kesihatan terbaik Malaysia, segalanya terjawab dalam Hello Doktor setiap Ahad
5.30 petang di TV3
dan stream juga melalui Tonton.
Ada apa dengan 40? Orang kata life begins at 40. Okey, makanan apa yang ada sepanjang tahun? Awak nak tahu?
Awak nak tahu? Nantikan Selasa ini.
Dalam hidup ni kadang-kadang akan ada rasa nak berputus asa.
Alah, janganlah macam tu. Tak kiralah apa saja dugaan yang datang, kita kena bangkit.
Okey, cyst. Adakah ianya berbahaya?
Nantikan kupasannya Khamis ini.
Ada pasangan kan? Kat depan lain, kat belakang lain.
Alamak, betul-betul topeng ke?
Semuanya di WHI TV3
Dan stream ditonton.
Thank you for staying with us. Former Chief Inspector Azila Hadri, the Special Action Unit officer convicted of murdering Mongolian Altan Tuya Sharibu 18 years ago, has had his death sentence commuted to 40 years jail and 12 strokes of the rotan. Chief Justice Tun Tengku Maimun Tuan Mat, who sat with Court of Appeal President Tan Sri Abang Iskandar Abang Hashim and Federal Court Judge Datuk Nordin Hassan, allowed Azila's review on Thursday. The top judge said the bench had given due consideration to Azila's affidavit as well as a letter from Altan Tuya's family when allowing the review application. Earlier, in a magnanimous gesture, the deceased father, Shah Aribu Setef, had written a letter to the court in support of Azila's application. Lawyer J. Kuldeep Kumar, representing Azila, sought to tender Shah Aribu's letter to the court. Lawyer Sangeet Kaur Deo, who held a watching brief for the family, confirmed its authenticity. In 2009, the Shah Alam High Court convicted Azila and colleague Sirul Azhar Umar of murdering 28-year-old Altan Tuya on October 18, 2006 on the outskirts of Shah Alam, Selangor. The convictions were overturned by the Court of Appeal in 2013 but restored by the Federal Court 2 years later. Both accused were sentenced to death. Sirul fled to Australia before the final verdict was announced, where he remains. In the same court, two Tuhan Harun followers on death row for murdering an assistant director of the Pahang Islamic Religious Department, JIP, in 2013 had their sentences commuted to 40 years imprisonment. The three-member bench unanimously allowed the applications by Su Mustafa Suraidi, age 50, and Shamsina Abdul Halim, age 47, and substituted their death sentences with prison terms. The bench ordered the jail terms to begin from the date of their arrest, with Shamsina's commencing from February 22nd, 2014, and Su Mustafa's from November 27, 2013. Shamsina will also be given 12 strokes of the cane. The duo were sentenced to death by the Kuantan High Court in 2016 after they were found guilty of murdering Ahmad Rafli Abdul Malik, an Enforcement Division Principal Assistant Director with JIP. The 49-year-old officer was shot outside his house at Banda Indra Mahkota, Kuantan, on November 10, 2013. In February 2018, the Court of Appeal dismissed their final appeals against their convictions and death penalty for lack of merit. In Johor, 3 foreign workers were seriously injured after an explosion and fire broke out at 4 factories, including a chemical storage warehouse in the SILC Industrial Park at Iskandar Putri on Thursday. The victims, all male Bangladeshi workers, managed to escape during the blaze, which is believed to have started at around 11:30 a.m. The operations commander at the Iskandar Putri Fire and Rescue Station, Muhammad Faiz Sulaiman, reported that they were alerted to the incident following a distress call received at 11:33 a.m. A total of 46 firefighters from various stations, including Iskandar Putri, Skudai, Pekan Nanas, Pontian Baru and Subana Cove, were deployed to the scene. Upon arrival, firefighters discovered that 4 factories were engulfed in flames with damage estimated at 80 to 90%. The affected facilities included a logistics factory and a paint thinner storage facility. The victims sustained burn injuries covering 30% of their bodies and were promptly taken to Sultanah Aminah Hospital for treatment by the factory's management team. Assistant Commissioner M. Kumarasan, the Iskandar Putri Police Chief, stated that authorities received a report about the fire at 11:45 a.m. Meanwhile, Iskandar Putri MP Liu Chin-tong assured the public that investigations into the fire's cause are underway, with the Department of Environment on site to assess any potential chemical pollution resulting from the incident. That concludes Nightline this time around. Before we leave, let's take a look at the newly opened cantilevered observation deck at the edge of a cliff in the Nujiang River Canyon in China, marking the first large skywalk in the region. With that, I'm Zahir, Kelvin Abdullah. Thank you for watching and have a great Friday.